Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Visual Impression. I hope you all are doing great. I know that if you are watching this video you are a nature lover, and as a nature lover you know that nature is awesome, and the most beautiful creation of nature is bird. Birds are full of color, full of life. They are everywhere in the water area, in the sky. You can find them in the forest. So their textures, their smoothness, their cute colors, you want to capture them complete, detailed, and crisp and sharp, right? So when you are capturing those images, sometimes you see that those birds are not coming that sharp. They are coming little bit soft. Their eyes are not focused, or the composition is not good. In that way, what happens? You get disappointment when you are sharing with your friends and relatives, and when you are trying to sell those images are getting rejected. So those problem happens, and today's episode is about to that problems and the solutions. So on this episode we will discuss about how to capture bird images crisp and clear and sharp, how to approach those birds, how to find those birds. So this will be a little bit longer video, so I'm requesting you to stay until the end of the video and learn all the process, all the basic and most important lessons for bird photography. If you are a beginner, you will learn a lot. And all the my beloved professional photographers, if you are watching this video, please share your thoughts, your suggestions, and share your feedback about this video. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So guys, for this video I created a small presentation, and we will go through this presentation and we will discuss the most important points to remember while capturing birds. So let's get started. So the things we will discuss on this chapter will be equipments, means what are the equipments we need to capture beautiful bird images. Then we will know about the camera settings, what are the settings you should be using while capturing birds. Then what are the process to locate birds in your locality, or if you are going to wildlife sanctuary or forests. Then we will discuss about how to approach birds. It is not like you will hurry and rush to the birds to capture the images. There are some process to approach the birds. Then we will discuss about photographing the birds. So I hope you all will stay till the end of the video and watch all these valuable informations, and those will be helpful for you while you are going to birding. So yeah, these are few images I captured of different birds, and they came up with nice result. I love those results. You can see at the right hand side there is a green bee eater, and the image is quite sharp. The eye is sharp, and the texture is sharp, and the feathers are sharp. Everything is sharp here, and with beautiful sunlight is reflecting on her body, and a beautiful background bokeh also I got on this image. So this image I captured using my D500 and 200 to 500 mm lens. I captured this with full zoom, 500 mm zoom, and the shutter speed was 1/400, and the ISO was 400, and the aperture was f8. So we will go through those precious points, and we will discuss why these figures are important, why f8 is important, and where it is important. Like here is another example. Here you can see the f number is 5.6 and the ISO is 100, and same at 500 mm focal length I captured this collared kingfisher, and also the brown winged kingfisher I captured with f7.1. So while capturing the birds, the most important thing is controlling your aperture and your shutter speed, your ISO, so that you can get a very sharp and clear bird image. Here is another example of a bird, brown headed barbet, and you can see everything is crisp and clear here. So let's discuss about the equipments. Basically you will need a DSLR camera or a mirrorless camera. With mobile phone you cannot capture sharp bird images, because you have to approach them either very near or you have to be at a far distance, but your lens have the capability to go close to the bird so that you can get a very detailed image of a bird. And a camera can control shutter speed, aperture, ISO. Those things cannot be perfectly controlled in mobiles, and mobile phones and other point and shoot camera cannot use interchangeable lenses. So those are some drawbacks. That's why you will need a DSLR or mirrorless camera. A DSLR or mirrorless camera with more autofocus point. More the autofocus point, more the cross type autofocus points you will have in your camera, better focus it will accuse. You can say it can track the bird if it is moving or flying very accurately. And second thing is you need minimum 6 to 9 frame per second. 10 frame per second is in my D500, so minimum 6 to 9 frame per second is very helpful while capturing the birds, because when you are capturing the motion, it will fly or it will land, so more frame per second will help to capture more section of the motion, so that will be helpful. And at least it should have, the camera should have at least 1/2000 seconds of shutter speed. Mostly we do not need that much of shutter speed, but it's good to have around 1/1500 1600 shutter speed also is good for taking bird images. But depending upon situation, it is just my opinion, depending upon situation, depending upon bird's movement, if it is a small bird and it is very frequently flying, that time you can increase your shutter speed, you can play with that. Then the third thing is improved autofocus system. Autofocus system means nowadays DSLRs or mirrorless are coming with very great autofocus system. Mirrorless cameras are getting eye autofocus for human, then it came for bird, cat or dog, and now they are improving their autofocus for birds as well. So group area autofocus, 3D tracking autofocus, eye tracking autofocus, these are very good autofocus system. Those will be very helpful while tracking the birds. So it will track very clearly and you will not lose focus on the birds. Okay, then the next thing is, then the next important point will be better buffer speed. Why buffer speed is important while capturing birds image using D7500 or D500? This is the most important thing. Why D7500 is the cost is less, but D500 has double the cost of D7500. The main point is its focus point, its frame per second capture, and its buffer speed. In D500 it will be having 200 continuous shot without any single buffer, but in D7500 you will have 50 images continuously without buffer. So if you are able to capture 200 simultaneous image of a bird, you can imagine how many detailed image you will get, right? So that's why buffer speed also very important. If your camera has more buffer speed, means you will leverage the value of that span and you can capture better images, right? And the next most important thing is the lens. So if you are having 1855 lens or 70 to 300 lens, the approach will be little bit lesser, and the lens sensor will not get that much of light and that much of zoom what you expect, because you cannot go very close to the birds. They are very shy and you should not push your limit to go to their environment and disturb them. You should be at your safe area and they should be their safe area, so that you can capture their emotions, right? So a lens with a lens will be that much helpful for that. And if that lens is a telephoto lens around 400 or 500 I'm not saying that with 70-300 you will not capture bird images. I have captured lots of bird using my 70 to 300 but more the better the approach, right? So a lens which is required with fast autofocus. The focusing speed also matter for the lens. Some lenses have very fast autofocus, some third-party lenses have little bit lesser autofocus speed. So, and better vibration reduction. You are traveling or you are standing somewhere in a boat, or you are putting your lens somewhere which is little bit shaking or vibrating. In that situation, vibration reduction is very much important. It will control the vibration reduction so that the bird's image will not shake or it will not come blurry. You will not get motion blur often. So you have to turn on the vibration reduction or image stabilization in Canon system, you can say. Those will help you to stabilize the image so that you will get a sharp image. If the camera is mounted on a tripod, you can turn it off, but while you are holding the camera on your hand, you can turn it on to get sharp bird images. The third important point is better optics and higher focal length, which I told you already. If the focal length is higher, like having a 500 mm lens is better than having a 300 mm lens, right? So it can have better focal length, and it can also have better aperture. Like 5.6 or 6.8 aperture lens is less capable than f4 or f2.8 lenses, though those are very costly, but it has also effect. And better optics, of course. If the optics is best, you will get images that highest quality, right? That's why some third-party cheap lenses are there, which are in comparison to original brand lenses. Why? Because brand lenses are using more better optics comparison to those. But nowadays Sigma and Tamron are also coming with very good quality glasses, so you can use those as well. And the optional thing is it should have a collar to mount to your tripod. If the lens is small, your camera itself can be mounted to tripod. If the lens is big, it should have a mounting collar or mounting stand so that you can mount to the tripod to balance it. So this is optional. When you are using the tripod, it will be helpful, otherwise you do not need it. But these are the things. Basic thing is a camera and a lens. Those two things are important. To take a sharp bird image, you must consider these points. Going to the next section, which is the most important, you must understand while choosing a camera for bird photography, a full frame or a crop frame, which camera you will choose. The most important thing choosing a camera is, if you are choosing a crop frame sensor camera, you will get better means more flexibility, means more zoom. You will get 1.5x more crop factor, so that the image what you are capturing will be 1.5x zoom itself from the beginning. But when you are using a full frame sensor, it will cover the entire sensor, so that you will get the picture without that 1.5x zoom, the natural image you will capture. So both these things have their merits and demerits. So in comparison to full frame sensor, DX sensor will generally provide better reach, better approach you will get, but full frame sensors control noise better than the DX sensor. In low light condition, if you are capturing any birds, if it is a full frame camera, you can go up to 4000 ISO. It can handle. But when you are using a DX camera, means a crop frame sensor camera, having a 4000 ISO, you will get noise. So that also you have to consider. So DX camera need more light in no light condition. To avoid more ISO noise, you can mount your camera to a tripod to minimize a little bit the shutter speed. But again, it depending upon the condition, right? So in a DX camera, if you are using a 70 to 300 mm lens, you will end up with 450 mm focal length. If you are using a 500 mm lens, you can end up with 650 or 680 mm focal length. So you will get more reach using a DX body, and it is also a little bit cost effective than FX. So whoever beginners are planning to buy a DSLR camera, you can choose a DX camera, but it should be having like I previously told, it should have those factors like more frame per second, more buffer speed, and more focus point. Those also you need to consider. Here is another image of a pond heron. It is a beautiful bird. I captured this bird using 9500 to 200 to 500 mm lens. Here I used a shutter speed of 1/800 and the ISO was 100, and f-stop I used is f5.6. So you can see how beautifully this bird I captured. So light, it was a sunset time actually. The light was falling very smoothly, and the background bokeh is nice, and the foreground bokeh is also nice. Here one thing you need to observe is, if you are capturing a bird from a very top position, then you will understand that the bird's background is very near, the surface is very near, so you will not get that much of bokeh. The background will be very muddy or something like that. For that, what you have to do, you have to go eye level to the bird. You have to, if you have to sleep, you have to sleep. There is no other chance. So you have to sleep and capture that bird from the eye level, so that you will get a beautiful background behind the bird. Like here I have captured, I have to go to the paddy field and I was just sleeping in the mud to capture this bird. Here are few other examples. You can see how the beautiful birds came very sharp and clear. Here is another example of a cuckoo. Biscuit torn. This one I captured in Chilica Wildlife Sanctuary. So there in season like November, December. Lots of migratory birds come here to Mangalajodi. There is another national park here. All kinds of around 15,000, 20,000 migratory birds come every year. So I'm planning to go there this year, and I will create a video for that as well for you. So let's come to the camera settings. The most important thing is your camera setting. Whatever beautiful camera you have, a mirrorless or a DSLR, a full frame or crop frame, whatever you have, if you do not know how to control your aperture ISO and white balance, shutter speed, you cannot control the bird. You cannot capture beautiful image of bird. You will miss that. You will lose focus. You will lose quality. You will lose sharpness. Those kind of issue will happen. So let's concentrate on what to do for fast moving and small birds. First thing is shutter speed. You need fast shutter speed around 1 by 1000 to 1 by 2000. You can use safely, and ISO you can put it in auto mode. So these are the settings I use. If you are using something different, you can comment on the chat box so that I will also improvising that and try to shoot with that same settings. Then the aperture I used to choose for small and moving birds safely in between f8. I do not go beyond f8. Within f8 I can capture birds with very beautiful details. I choose white balance to auto. I use normally matrix metering, and the release mode I use the fastest whichever I have is 10 frames per second. And autofocus I use single point autofocus for small birds, and the group autofocus when it is flying with 3D tracking. And always I choose image format as RAW, because RAW is capturing that image with the actual data without any kind of manipulation, and you will have lots of leverage. You will have lots of freedom to maximize or minimize your contrast, your vividness, your saturations, your white balance, and your exposure. Everything you can adjust according to your need. So always try to capture images in RAW format. RAW format is little bit heavier than JPEG, but trust me, RAW format will help you a lot while post processing. So let's talk about this exposure, aperture ISO, and white balance metering. Metering is up to you. Matrix metering I told you. White balance I always choose auto. The rest four thing is ISO, aperture, shutter speed. Okay, so when you are seeing a bird, it is standing and you know it will not move that at that speed, you are at a safe distance, you can choose a shutter speed in between 1 by 250 to 1 by 500 to capture that bird. And if that bird is a little bit bigger, in medium sized bird, you can easily use around f5.6 to f7.1. In between that, what will happen, you will get better focus on the bird, its eye, its feathers, and the background also will get that amount of bokeh or the blur, whatever you tell. But if you are using lesser say 5.6 or other value whatever you have, maybe some portion of the bird will lose focus, it will look smooth. A section of a bird will get sharp, because birds are not flat subject, they are curved subject. So few portion will be very focused and few portion will be less focused. So to adjust that, you can use around f7.1 or f8 maximum. It will handle that sort. And ISO, if you are capturing in daytime, just try to have it auto or the minimum ISO to 100. And if you are shooting little bit darker time like sunset time, that kind of, you can increase your ISO to 1 by 1000 or 1600 or something. If you are using a full frame, you can easily manage up to 4000 of ISO. So these are the rough settings you can choose for taking a sharp bird images. Some other examples of beautiful birds. This is a tailor bird. It is very fast traveling, but you cannot see, you never see it standing or sitting somewhere calmly. It will just jump here, there, here, there, here, there. You just have to keep your focus and keep your trigger ready to capture the bird immediately. So yeah, these are some beautiful images. Then another interesting factor is locating the birds. but you need to think what kind of images you are going to capture in the morning or in the evening whenever you are traveling. So first thing is understand birds activities and behavior. Have a book of Salim Ali or any other, there are lots of books are available. Read about birds in your locality, which birds are famous, which birds are mostly available. First read about them, what is their behavior, when they are doing what, when they are waking up, when they are having their food, what kind of food they are eating, how they are behaving with humans, if they are means familiar with human or they are distracting from the humans, they hate humans. So just learn about birds. It will help you a lot. You will have an emotional attachment to the birds, so they will also feel safe when you are there, right? So understand about birds, their behavior, how they react, how they act, what they eat, where they stay. So all kind of things you can learn from the book. Then practice at your backyard. If your backyard have a small jungle or garden you have, you can practice there. Obviously birds will be always traveling here and there, so you can find few birds, you can hide yourself inside your home and you can capture bird images, or you can simply sit and observe what they are doing, how they are reacting, how they are sitting, how they are standing. Everything you can observe from there. Then find a local birds. It may be a crow, it may be a pigeon, it may be a dove, it may be a cattle egret. So all these birds are very famous and they're local birds, right? So you can find them everywhere. So start capturing those images first using your settings. So you will get handy with your camera, with your lens, with your exposure and your positioning. You will get familiar to go nearer to them or go far from them. So you will learn those things while capturing those birds. Then in Instagram or Facebook or WhatsApp, you can follow birders. There are lots of thousands of bird photographers or bird lovers are there. You get friendly with them. Like I also shoot birds, so you can get connected with me, so we can share knowledge with each other. I have my Instagram. I'll put my link in the description. You can follow that. So then at the next step, you can travel to a zoo or wildlife safari nearer to you, and you can see there are lots of birds will be there, and you go there and try to capture some beautiful images of those birds. So those will be helpful for you to locate birds nearer to your place. And the other thing is approaching part. Once you find there are birds, okay, what next? First thing is make the bird feel comfortable. If the bird is not comfortable with you, once that bird located that you are there with a camera, she will fly away. So what to do? Just do not rush into the surrounding. Just stay a little bit far, observe what the bird is doing. If she is trying to fly away, you will notice. So she will just look here and there and open her wing and fly away. So in that case, you just calm and quiet, just sit or hide yourself somewhere, just go away, go side, and slowly move, slowly approach to the bird. Do not go very close. Having a 70-300 mm lens, you have to have a minimum distance so that you can capture better images. If you are having 500 or 600 mm lens, you can safely locate yourself at a very far distance. But still there are some birds like flamingo and all, they can notice you from a kilometer distance as well. So be careful and try to get comfortable with birds so that they will not fly away when you arrive. The next important thing is have patience. Sometimes what people do, go and search, they will not find bird. Oh, my day is lost, I should not travel there. I spend lots of money traveling to the wildlife sanctuary, I could not find a single bird. Do not think like that. Every day is not a golden day for anyone, so have patience, you will get bird, but be patient and try. One day you will find the bird, no problem. So approach slowly. Once you saw, so whole day you tried and finally you saw a bird, I will capture it, bolke, do not rush to the birds, right? So slowly, just slowly move, be steady, do not try to rush to the bird, move slowly and capture the bird cool and calm way. And the next important thing is, if you are wearing a colorful t-shirt, colorful pant, colorful hat, you have lots of ornaments on you, or you have a watch which have glass elements, those will distract birds. Simply our black head also distract birds. Wear camouflage dress like army people wear. Use a camouflage hat or a hide. You can go for a hide. Inside that you can shoot birds, but do not wear those kind of attractive dresses which birds notice is very easily. So wear camouflage clothes so that the birds will be acquainted with you slowly. And do not look at the bird directly to the eye. Always avoid the direct eye contact. If you saw a bird, you just go smoothly some different direction by bending your neck and stand there, and simply by using your binocular or your lens, just look at that bird. Do not look at the bird like that, and don't rush into that. It will distract them as well. The next thing is, do not make any sudden move. If you saw a bird, then there is another bird, do not jump and go to capture that bird. What will happen in forest? You will get lots of wood or stick or dry leaves. If you do sudden move, the sound will be very distracting and they will fly away. And another important thing is, please turn off or put your cell phone to silent mode. If you will use your cell phone inside the forest frequently, you will not get chance to locate the bird because your all concentration on your phone. And again, if your phone rings, then that ringing sound will go very far, and they will also get distracted. The birds will get distracted and they will fly away. So stay away from your cell phone as much as possible. Then watch your steps while traveling inside the forest. That is very unknown place for you because it is not your home. There are lots of toxic like snakes or any kind of other insects are there. They can bite you. Just watch your step, look everywhere, and use a stick and slowly move by locating everywhere. And do not make any sound. Do not talk with each other. Try to get habituated with signals like in with your hand. If you want to stand somewhere, just use like this, or any kind of other movement if you know, so those you can use. But do not talk with each other and laugh or any kind of, do not create any kind of disturbance inside the forest. And some camera have clicking focusing sound and the shutter sound. By clicking, click, the sound happens right inside the camera. Try to turn that off. Do not make any device sound, so that those sounds maybe are not very sensitive for our ear, but for birds ears those sounds are very sensitive, so they easily understand that something going wrong in their location, so they will fly away. So when you do not have silent shutter, few of the camera now, Nikon, Canon and other companies are producing the shutter, they are using silent shutter, so they will not create any sound. But mostly DSLR camera create a very large sound while clicking images, so specifically in burst mode. So if you do not have control on making the shutter release sound silent, just keep little bit distant and capture the image. Later you can crop and get your sized image, but do not disturb the birds using your sound. And the last thing is, never go too close. If you see birds, you do not try to get into the eye of the bird. Just stay at a safe distance and capture whatever you are capturing. Be satisfied with that. Do not try to get into very close distance to them. It will hurt their boundaries. Every animal have their own privacy, so do not cross their privacy zone. So let them enjoy their life, and you also enjoy your life. Okay, so do not distract them. Do not for your image sake, do not create any harm to bird. Do not give them any food which is toxic for them. Always consult to better photographers or researchers what kind of food they can eat. So those precautions you need to take also. Here is some other images I captured of different small birds, and you can see how sharp and crisp and clear these bird images came. And the next thing is photographing the birds. While you saw, you found the so far you found the location, you know about the birds. you know how to approach them. The next important thing is how to capture the birds. So photographing birds is a very tricky thing because they are not a static subject like people. They will fly, they will jump, they will run, they will do anything. So for that, while capturing the bird, you must understand that need to have high shutter speed sometimes, so you can leverage that using your shutter. Then use your aperture wisely, which I told you, for get better depth of field. You can use between 6 to 7 aperture. Do not go beyond 8, 9, 10, 11. Those will the shallow depth of field will decrease. You will have less depth of field. Then what are the depth of field, what are the aperture you need to choose is f5.6 or lower for small birds or bird is nearer to you, 6.1 to 7 if bird is little bit farther away, and f8 if bird is flying. And keep composition in mind. For example, if you are shooting a bird, it is not like a bird is there, I will capture it. No, just think about the composition. If you want to capture the same bird, 5 people capture in different way and one of them will be best. Why? Because the best photographer is know how to create a better composition. If a branch is there, the bird is sitting there, so he will compose it in such a way that in post processing he will not use a lot of effort. In that way also the image will be great. So always think about the composition, how to compose the bird, where to place the bird, and where the background should be. So all the things. So what are the points for better bokeh? Make sure more distance between bird and the background, which I told you before. More the distance from the bird, better the background blur. So do not shoot bird from the top position, you will get a very narrow depth of field. And try to position yourself at a eye level of the bird, which also I told you already. If you capture a bird with the eye level wherever the bird is, then you will get a better image. If bird is sitting in a tree, you are capturing from the below, then from the top, bottom to the top, then you will get different image. If someone climbing on the other tree and capturing the bird directly from the eye level, then he will get another approach. So like that, if the bird is on the ground, you are capturing from the top, then you will get different image. If the bird is at the ground, you are also on the ground, then the bird image will be different. So keep thinking about that. So that's what I told you. If the bird is on the ground, do not hesitate to lay down on the ground. So try to keep sunlight at your backside, the most important thing. If the subject is here and sunlight is falling at the opposite side of the subject and you are at the opposite side, means sunlight is directly in front of you, then the bird will be dark, the image will be dark. Always try to compose in such a way that you have to, if you have to travel half kilometer, then you have to travel, but keep yourself in such a situation that the sunlight will be at your backside. That's why morning and evening time are the best time to capture birds. Then the next thing is focus on the eye of the bird. That is the most important thing. All bird photographer will pinch and see if the bird's eye is sharpest or not. If the bird's eye is sharpest, then the other portion of the bird will be also sharp. So always think about that and try to capture the bird with the sharp eye focused. That will help you a lot while capturing the full bird in a sharp and crisp way. And use a photo blind if you can afford. Around 700, 800 or 1000 rupees will be a photo blind. You can afford that easily. Use that and sit somewhere calm and quiet and see. Lots of birds will be there and you can capture easily. They will not get distracted and you will get the better image as well. Then shoot lots of images. Don't hesitate to take lots of images. Nowadays memory cards are very cheap, so you can capture 2000, 5000 images. Do not worry about that. But having lots of images, you will get lots of opportunity to capture the same bird in a different position and different combinations of, if two birds are playing with each other or fighting with each other, you can get lots of different innovative shots. So do not hesitate to capture more and more shots. That time it was a reel, so you have to purchase a reel every time, but now memory card is there. 128 GB, 256 GB memory cards are there, so you can capture lots of images. Do not worry about that. And if the sky is cloudy and a bird is flying in a cloudy sky, If you want to capture, you can capture, but white and gray background for birds is not friendly. You will not get that amount of sharpness and clarity on a bird. And as I told you, the best time is either early morning or afternoon. In that time, what happens? Sunlight will be very soft and you will get perfect exposure and everything will be very calm and quiet. You can capture those birds. Those birds will be very friendly at that time, because at the morning time they comes to the water. Sometimes they come to the pond or anywhere they want to search for food, and at the evening time also they want to search for food, so they can give you a chance to capture images. Okay, and the sunlight will be also smooth. And what's next? You located birds, you know how to capture birds, you spotted birds, you captured birds. What is the next thing? The next thing will be post processing, of course. So this is the thing I wanted to share with you, because few of my beloved subscribers are asking me to create a video related to bird photography, how to capture sharp birds. So thank you for your suggestion. For that I created this video. So I do not want to make it very long. If you watched till now, then I am thankful for you. So put your suggestions, put your comments on the comment box, and share your thoughts how this episode was. And if you have any more suggestions, innovative ideas, you can also share with me. I will also implement those ideas. And on the next chapter, I will tell you about the post processing, about the birds, how I do post processing of birds, and my approaches. So we will discuss those things on the next episode. So this is all for this episode, and thank you for watching. Have a great day.